All right. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Night Something. My name is Ben Leach. I'm from the band Yumi and Everyone We Know. And tonight, we're going to talk about the time period from the time period of the band from the time we finished recording Some Things Don't Wash Out right up until the release of Things Are Really Weird Right Now, which couldn't have been a more physical or appropriate title. Hey, oh, what's up, Dan? Yeah, all the artwork's gone. I needed it for something that you'll find out about in a couple of weeks. But so that's that. You'll find out why it's not here today in a couple weeks. So yeah. So last time we left off, we had finished recording. Some Things Don't Wash Out after Doghouse had approached us. Sicko mode. You guys ever see that guy on TikTok? He's obsessed with Supreme and stuff. That he seems unwell, but I hope he's super happy. So yeah, we have at this point finished recording Some Things Don't Wash Out. It's about, I think, by now I think we've actually gotten right up to the point where that album's been released. And I am fully spent at this point. In 2000 and, you guys have already heard sort of the vague details of my life up until now. I don't know about vague, but at this point my drinking's pretty out of control. I'm driving under the influence. I'd been driving under the influence pretty regularly for a while. Not regularly. If I was in Baltimore, that's usually the only time I was really getting into that. I wasn't really fucking around elsewhere. But yeah, so I had been less of a partner to people than I'd planned on it. And things in the band weren't going great. As I said, I failed to have a conversation with Rico that I should have had that, would have cleared up if this was something that we both wanted to get involved with again. But I didn't, and it bit me in the ass. Once Rico found a lineup for these shows we had in sort of late 2010, early 2000, and beyond, we took the pictures because the label wanted the band, and we're touring again, and it's super. I'm exhausted. I'm done. I had spent the last year and a half, almost nearly 2 years, like bringing this thing back from the brink, while homeless, for all intents and purposes, and I'm tired. The record, the album comes out, everybody likes it. It is the number one most download or most pirated record on websites like It Leaked and others. It's doing its thing. It's selling well. People are excited. We finally got access to like a big booking agent, and they were starting to get us on tours and stuff. So things are lining up, for externally on the surface. And thank you, Laura. And but I'm burnt out. I'm fully burnt out. It's kind of like I wasn't getting to enjoy it because I was working so hard to make it happen. So we I remember like saying to the guys, like, I need to take like a couple days. Like, I gotta get out of Chicago. I gotta get I'm exhausted. I'm gonna take a break for the holidays. I'm gonna go visit my friend, and just sort of get a mental reset as I had to do the last a couple like the previous year when I was burnt out. As far as people pirating the record, I don't really have an issue with it. Like that's basically what everybody's doing with Spotify now. Like I know it's the model, but it's basically not paying for the record the way the system is set up. Like you're paying for Drake's by listening to You, Me, and Everyone We Know. You are paying for Drake's record. You're paying Drake, which is not cool necessarily, but I think if they didn't do it the way they were doing, just as Jimmy Iovine has warned about, like the whole business model could jackknife. So, the industry is entirely backed itself into the corner. It's all good, But yeah, like I'm more about people hearing it. I don't want to be famous. I want to help. I would just like to be able to pay the rent, so to speak, or the mortgage, or anything. Yeah. So anyway, I'm super burnt out. I'm in the airport getting ready to fly to fly to Seattle, and my manager calls me and he's like, "Hey, I got great news. This is this guy Danny Ruckeson, fantastic dude. He played trombone in the Hippos back in the day. He's now managing Billie Eilish. Previously, he was managing Front Porch Step, and a couple other bands that Working Group and Doghouse were all involved with as well. So he calls me and he's like, "Hey Ben, we got this really great opportunity. This label, Top Shelf Records, they want to work with you guys, and they want to put something out like in a couple of months." I'm like, "Danny, I gotta be honest with you, man. Like I was, like we have to be on the road again in February, or like mid or late January, and I was planning to just take 2 weeks off of working on band stuff, and I could not be less interested in writing right now. I just poured my whole heart into the. Yeah, by the way, if you can pre-order that new record and that merch. That's how the band makes its money, for better or for worse, is physical goods. And, financially backing the band is super helpful. It keeps things going. I've put more financially into this record than I've ever been able to before. And a lot of that was in part because a lot of people bought those full-length albums I was able to get a hold of. But yeah, so please, I think you'll see it's well worth it. It will be well worth it. I'm like, look, the last thing I want to do right now is reflect on my life. Like, I'm still living it. And at this point in my life, I hadn't yet learned a lot of the coping skills and sort of perspectives I have on life now that would have been helpful back then. But I didn't, so I just, essentially since we'd started, everyone that was like connected to the industry or telling us what to do or giving us advice in any way, was like, if you guys ever take a break, like it's all gonna fall apart. Like if you guys ever slow down, it's all gonna fall apart. That was constantly the message. So I was like, all right, like I feel like I can't say no to this opportunity. Like I'm too tired to fight. So I say yes. Or I said, like, I'll call the guys, I'll check, and so they're all like, fuck yeah, we can definitely do it. And I'm like, all right, well, I was gonna be here for a while, so like, if I'm flying back early, like the band's got to pay for it. So that's agreed to. I fly back to Chicago way earlier than I wanted to, and we fuck around for a month. Songs are only sort of written. If I'm I wasn't involved with any of the music other than Sad Bastard music on this EP, like, cause I was like, I can't, like, I don't have any music ideas right now. My brain is grieving the rest of what I just put out. So yeah, like I had this little idea with Sad Bastard music that I was kind of working on. So I wrote that, and so the album is very much like what's about what was going on from my perspective at that point at that time. We had I've I had I've never felt more alone in the band than I was at that point. Some of it was my shit. Some was the fact that like all those dudes were friends, and there wasn't really like why bother getting to know me like and I would come to find out I guess later that it wasn't really much many of their things. They wanted to be an A band but not this band. So yeah, and I was still pulling a lot of the weight, and still thinking about the people that I had just like just sort of internally realized that the band had survived, that like it was going to continue after like the clusterfuck of the last couple of years, between the van fire and everyone leaving because they didn't want to be in a band with people that weren't going to put in any effort, and like be having to build all that up and just yeah. So yeah, like I remember a lot of these ideas got written in a very weird way. I remember it was like the middle of winter and I was like sleeping on Rico's floor, or like as a cat, like as just sleeping on his floor or whatever, so that we could get this stuff done. And I remember just like being like, we have to leave in 10 days and like we don't have like there's not music done. And they're like, we're gonna get it done. I'm like, well, what? Like, when's it gonna happen? Because like we're not supposed to turn stuff in this late. Like, this is unprofessional. We're supposed to have songs for a label to listen to before they put it out. But it wasn't going that way. The guys were like, we'll do it ourselves. We'll mix and master ourselves. We'll do the artwork. So they sort of did. But yeah, I wrote a lot of the, aside from Sad Bastard music, the lyrics to the other two songs, just on a long ass walk in the cold around Tinley Park, in Chicago. I was just sort of imagining, one, like, there was a thump, then another. It was just kind of like honestly, I wrote, the order I wrote these in, were odd, because I had started writing. I think they had given me There Was a Thump, then another, something to listen to first, and I wanted to dig a little, just have fun, I guess, dig a little into something that wasn't so heavy, as the rest of the last album. So I kept it pretty. Where's the artwork on the wall? Goder. It's being used for something that's happening in the next couple of days. You'll find out about it in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so I just wanted to write something fun and like Sam Cooke and just nothing too crazy or serious. I had all these fun little just like fun little lines that didn't really work with what was going on the full length. So I revisited them and figured out how to make them work for There Was a Thump, then another. Yeah, just, There Was a Thump, then another. The song's just about dancing with somebody, your heart raising, you having a little bit of a stutter because you're nervous. This is very much like if you were like zoom in and slow mo and like sort of like slice up an interaction. This is sort of like my experience talking to people I generally have found attractive. Yeah, so it's just a fun little dancey song, and yeah, I just kind of assembled it on a long walk between tours. I think these songs actually got written. So we were supposed to do them in January, and they didn't get done, or they got recorded, and then we went on tour with Hello Goodbye, and why did I look that up? We went on tour with Hello Goodbye, and then on that tour, like, there's just all this, like, just as a point of, like, illustration, for my, like, reasons of feeling isolated. So there's this, I can't remember where we were staying, but I was super tired that night, and, like, they were gonna stay up and hang out, and so I just went to bed. But I had eaten, like, a big, like, edible, like, cashew blondie or something before that, and so I was, like, super zooted, and thank you, Stefan. And I remember laying there, and essentially, like, I was stoned enough that my body wasn't really, like, trying to move, but I was, like, it's like my ears could hear better than they usually could. And I essentially just, I couldn't move and had to listen to the band talk amongst themselves about all the reasons they don't like me and why they think I'm weird. And they don't know that I heard that conversation. But it really cemented in me that nobody had any interest in being in a band with me. And really playing, like, the kind of music I was writing. So I was like, well, fuck it. I guess I really am alone in this band. Like, I can't believe I fucking did this to myself. And I'm, like, geeking out more and more. I'm having more panic attacks on the road and wherever I'm staying. My drinking is, like, at this point, I've been trying to quit drinking for, like, 9, maybe 7 or 8 months. So essentially, for the entire time that these guys have known me, I've been trying to quit drinking. Like, I've already I just put out a fucking record about how bad my drinking is, and yeah. So, like, I'm trying to quit drinking, but I can't. Like, just things keep popping up. I go through all the steps that anybody goes through, all that bargaining. Like, maybe I'll just drink nice beer. Maybe oh nope, that didn't work for me either. That's just expensive and really heavy in my stomach. I'll just drink gin. Oh, that doesn't work, because one day you're gonna fall asleep in the van in Chicago in the winter of, like, the day before Christmas in 2010. You're gonna wake up and it's gonna be like -30 with the wind chill, and your heart is gonna feel like it's failing. And nobody's going to come back to the van for 6 or 7 hours because we were all out drinking the night before. And they went off to stay somewhere, and my phone died before I could get the address of where it was. Yeah. So it's a pretty rough time. So we get done with the tour with Hello Goodbye, and I think by now the album is done, or the EP is done. Like, they've been, like, mixing it on the road and stuff. Yeah. I think it. So, like, yeah, this all happens after the Hello Goodbye tour, because we met up with the guys. We met the guys from Top Shelf in Boston, or in Allston specifically. And they were like, we can't wait to hear the songs. And I was like, I remember being like, I'm really sorry that we don't have them yet. And, and, like, while at the same time, like, we're there, and, like, these dudes are, like, waiting on these songs, and, like, the rest of the guys are just, like, partying it up. And I'm like, this looks bad. What went from a theoretical to a real situation? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Snoop never talked. Well, usually, yeah, he doesn't eat it. But, yeah, maybe he does. I don't know how Snoop... I just know he smokes. Anyway, so, yeah, we get... I get the songs back, and I remember this long walk happened after... we were playing, like, one of our last shows on the Hello Goodbye tour was in New York, and we play, I can't remember the name of the venue. It was like, It wasn't Webster Hall. But so anyway, we're in the green room, and there's this sort of like framed picture of the marquee of the venue, and I don't know why, but like the marquee just said things are really weird right now, and that struck me over the side of the head. I can't remember what was going on at the time, but like it was just not a great situation interpersonally, and yeah, I remember like holding on to that line. I was like, wow, like that's so strange that maybe I'd gotten into an argument about somebody, like with someone, like having to explain why we hang out by the merch table. Like I guess it wasn't clear that the reason we hang out by the merch table is because like people often want to meet the band. Let's just be perfectly clear about it. We like to meet you, but when we're at the merch table, where odds are we're going to sell a little more, which is going to help us eat or get to the next show. And I guess that was the reasoning for that hadn't been clear yet. So I think that might have been like what I was frustratedly explaining to people about like why we all should be at the merch table at the end of the night. And so yeah, I remember writing things are really weird right now. It was cold, and I just remember like feeling like I needed to walk for a while. And I was thinking about, in writing the song, where will there be a chance to meet you guys at the upcoming show? Will there be? Yeah, so Platy, just take a break from this, if that's okay. Platy Cat, yeah, there'll be a chance to meet. I'm probably not going to be able to hang out by the merch table all night, just because of my dysautonomia now. Like, the sensory overload will probably start fucking with my heart and nervous system, like, before the show, and I want to keep it nice and smooth so I'm able to make it happen for everybody, like, right up until the show. But, yes, I'm sorting out details on that. But, yes, there'll be a very specific way. I'm trying to meet everybody I can, but keep it a little less chaotic. But I'm going to sort that out. But if you come to the Lancaster show, like, I live here, so it'll be fun. But Philly and New York might be, Chicago and New York might be a little crazier. So yeah, I write this, and I'm, things are really weird right now. This phrase got stuck in my head, like, you're gonna hear me talk about on the new album, that like I find myself listening a lot more than I do thinking I'm sort of the instrument of whatever's happening. It's both. It's naturally both, but I just try to listen a little bit more. And this is one of those things that just kind of hits you, just like the phrase "some things don't wash out." Like, it hit me like a bolt of lightning, and I was like, I gotta write that down right now. And so I'm thinking about, like, why are things really weird right now? There's just so many reasons, and that's kind of what this song is. Like, it felt like I was in a band full of people that didn't want to be in the most successful phase. Like, even in its most successful phase, didn't want to be in this band. Like, I was being rejected in my own band, and that felt really strange and not good and very isolating. And yeah, so yeah, things are really weird right now. Like, it seems all their dreams came true. When I say I'm talking about everybody that convinced me to do this. None of them are left in the band. They're like, Noel went back to college. Paul, like, went back to school as well. Like, Ryan was working for the FDA at the time or something like that. So I was like, now you might wonder where that leaves me. I'm not complaining, just beginning to see, I never really learned just how to aspire. This idea that to me, like, this whole thing is about, like, things are really weird right now and sad bastard music. The rest, like, this is the crux of where I am at this point in my life. And so I never really learned just how to aspire. So this, because I didn't have any adults in my life that provided me any sort of emotional reliability or sense of safety after I got back from Hawaii, after I got back from my year of torture, everybody basically acted like it didn't happen. Randy, stop, knock that off. Sorry, my cat's trying to, like, get in the basement. Knock that off, Randy. I don't have anything soft to throw at you. Damn it. Do it. Randy, get out of there. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Get. That didn't do anything. Cats always just look at you like a dickhead when you try to stop them doing stuff. So she's trying to get in the basement. Randy, don't do it. Sorry. So, I never really learned to, like, plan for the future, because every time I had in my life had gotten my hopes up about the future, or that, like, things might be, like, working out, like, it might be getting brighter for me, it would always, like, just shit would always fall apart. I was like, so, like, we can go back to, my early life. Like, when I was I remember, like, when I was in the third grade, I, like, accepted that my dad wasn't going to be around. I remember, like, putting, like, a note under the guidance counselor's door to be like, I need to chat. I just got to, like, work through this. And I remember, like, a moment of being like, cool, I remember being like, I'm going to be all right. Like, that's okay. Like, some people just aren't in your lives, and that's, like, I let that go. And then, like, my dad invites me to visit him in Hawaii when I'm, like, 9 with my sister. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I haven't seen him in a bit because he's stationed over there. But yeah, why not? And so we're there for, like, a couple weeks, and they're like, do you want to stay? Like, how about you stay for a month? And I'm like, I don't, yeah, okay. Like, I'm not, okay. And then they're like, well, why don't you stay for the summer? And I'm like, I don't really want to stay for the summer. Like, I just, like, I had moved, like, every year or two, recently. And it was, like, just getting settled and just getting friends. Like, just starting to, like, find some friends. So I wasn't really down. So, like, the bitch of this whole traumatic experience, at the hands of my father and stepmother, was just such a bitch, because I had already, like, already gone through the grief process of, like, letting go of all that. But anyway, in doing that, like, I just never really, I learned to, like, never make plans, because, like, they're gonna go wrong, and I don't, people will ask, like, do you have, like, people that make music that you, like, do you have any idols in music? It's like, no. Like, I don't look up to anybody. Because, like, anybody, I don't know, for the most part, anybody you look up to is going to let you down. We're all human. I know that's not true, but that was, like, my experience up until I mean, shit, I was in my 30s, I guess. Like, yeah. So I just never made any plans. I never had any plans for the future. And I didn't know how to, like, plan this, because, like, I was succeeding in a dream that was not mine. So it was almost like, yeah, it wasn't, I was discovering that, like, I discovered the deep meaning in it, but I was just so alone. I was just so fucking alone for so long. But yeah, like, I'm not complaining, like, I get it, like. And this next line, like, I mostly self-deprecate, detach, and retire. So essentially, like I make fun of myself. Then I detach myself from how I feel about that, and then I dip. I Irish goodbye it. Um, and that's another thing you're gonna notice on the new album. I'm not making. I'm not the joke. I'm not a joke anymore. Like I'm not making fun of myself. I'm not the butt of the whatever the joke is or whatever the line is. Don't worry, I'm still too narcissistic for all the scenery, but it's just a much more positive, or much. You'll understand. You'll understand when you hear it. But so yeah, like, I was 15 looking for God, just sort of going over like these steps, like these phases in your life. I'd been reading this book, and they talked about how like every young teenager goes through like or I should say like every young teenager in America, or every young white teenager in America goes through like has some friend that's like, hey, do you want to go to youth group and we'll talk about God and stuff? And then like if you're like me, you're gonna ask some questions that the pastor won't be able to answer, and I'm so good at the lyrics because I hate myself too much to let them be bad. I'm so good at the lyric callback. I don't know. I'm good at puns. I'm good at thinking on my feet. Randy, I'm gonna get you. Hold on a second. Get out of here. You get away from that door. You don't get to mess with that door. That door is off limits to you, Randy. Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, it was like how our lives change as we go. So like we're young teenagers, and somebody's like, "You ever heard of like God?" And you're like, "That's pretty crazy." Yeah, like I was like, I don't have any friends. I remember spending just a lot of time alone as a kid. Nobody, I used to rationalize it as like oh, I had friends like before I got kidnapped and tortured for a year, but like I really didn't. Like I got picked on a lot. I think like my general queerness has followed me, unbeknownst to me, my whole life. I was just always a gentle, just a gentle dude, or still have thought. Yeah, it turns out I'm a gentle person. But yeah, and that, I was way gentler with the world than it was me, unfortunately. But yeah, so you go through these, and then you try to look for answers in that, and naturally you get down this track for a little bit, and then you realize that there's more to it than that, and somebody's not telling you something, and so that you don't find the answers you're looking for, so you go looking elsewhere. So I was 15 looking for God. I was 18 praying to lay. Like I don't know if not having sex by the time you're 18 is young, but it was sure treated like I was sure treated like it was running a little late on schedule when I was that age. Yeah, it's hot. And then now I'm 26 with a head full of hair I'll be losing any day. So like I'm writing about this very moment. As I'm writing this song, like one of the things that's strange about these songs is like I wrote them while I was going through, like I was living what I was writing about. Like there was no like separation of time. But yeah, there was no separation of time here. So essentially, I'm 26 with a head full of hair I'll be losing any day. So like I'm in my hair is like down to here by now. I just stopped cutting my hair at some point. I think I have no idea when. I just stopped, and it looks great. But now with my dysautonomia, it's like touching my face, and I don't like that. But we like this. One of the guys in the band was like super concerned about losing his hair. and it was just on my mind. You know, like just sort of the note, like this isn't part of a process, like part of an aging process, something that everybody goes through, but just this idea of just getting older, of just aging. I'm 20. Like at the time, I thought I was so fucking old. I was 26, and everybody's like, "Well, are you gonna give up yet? Are you gonna give up yet? Are you gonna? What are you still doing this for? What are you still doing this for?" And it's like, what am I still doing anything for? What am I gonna go back? Like, just gonna go back to Dundalk and go back to working at fucking Squires? Like, no. But so yeah, like, what am I like? Like I feel like I'm in I feel like I'm, alone in this in a lot of ways. But it's also not my thing. Like it wasn't my dream. So I'm dealing with I'm trying to figure all that out, and just like, just bury me. I've been push the dirt. This is sort of like, there's a song on a later EP called Dogged. The song is called I'd Rather Be Sleeping, but this is sort of an allusion. That's a callback to this song. But now that time it's like push the dirt on top of me. I'm even too tired to put the effort in for that. I've been too busy kicking up dust. I'm just sifting through it now. I've been moving too fast, and now I'm starting to find that like I'm realizing I'm gonna have to slow down, and I can't keep doing this to myself. Doing this to myself for the sake of others. Randy, you are wilding tonight. So yeah, that's where this first verse is about. Like, things are really weird right now. I know I haven't called in that. So digging into the second verse of this song, like traveling's hard, any fucking, like, this is as close as you're gonna get to a guitar music traveling song for me as possible. Katie, I'm 37. Yeah, fuck, homeboy worked at Squires back when minimum wage was $5.15 an hour. And they were like, we give you 10 more cents of minimum wage. I was like, all right, cool. Or it might have been even $5 an hour, and they gave me $5.25. That was a cool job. Somebody once asked me to show them my dick in the elevator of a holiday party. That was a day. Yeah, I've been sexually harassed a lot in my life. So yeah, second verse. It's like, you travel and you just sort of lose touch with people. It's hard to maintain relationships. So that time that you do spend home is sort of I didn't really at this point I didn't have a home. So I was just sleeping wherever. I'd been sleeping in Noel's van until Noel quit the band, and then where was I after that? I was bouncing around a lot. Oh yeah, I had a place in Portland, but I was never there because I was like trying to like do this stuff with Trevor and Rico on the East Coast. Yeah, like there were, some weeks where I slept at Augie's, or some weeks where I slept at Trevor's. I remember there was like a week or two I slept at my mom's house, but I fell through the front door drunk. So I didn't want to like put that on her. Yeah. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on in all this. Yeah. In other words, yeah. And this song's just about being burnt out. My mind's either weary of the things I'll say. There was this moment while I don't know if I told you guys this during recording So Young So Insane's demos, that like I was just starting to worry that I'd become like too honest, and I was therefore going to be like bringing other people into things, and I was like unsure of that, and I didn't feel great about the possibility of that. But yeah, like or it's had enough of this self-abuse. Like, even then, like, I'm aware that, like, what I'm doing has to change. Like, I can't keep being like, keep treating myself this way, you know, or accepting the kind of love I was getting. Yeah, so that's this song. Yeah, does anybody, if you guys have any questions, now's the time for it. I'm trying to think if what have we got going on with the band right now. So we're announcing, I can tell you a couple things. We got a contest coming next week. It's gonna be real cool. Away team, sit tight on instructions on that too. I'm trying to think. We have another session coming out Wednesday for Ramdas Dick Pics. I hope you guys have enjoyed those. Those are just a silly little thing we've been doing. There's so many other like content ideas I had, and then we had to like record video stuff in the summer, and I've been working a vaguely stressful job recently. But yeah, I'm still trying to accept my limitations. So I hope you guys are enjoying those. Yeah, the record comes out in 26 days. I hope everybody that's watching has ordered their copy. Again, supporting the band financially directly through purchasing physical goods is the best way to do that. I greatly appreciate it, and it honestly keeps things going. How many people? All right, Goder. For the original people formed to that point, I think we've had 21 people in the band. I think at this point. And I've never known anybody before they played in the band. The band I joined that became this band, I had like met those guys several times. We like hung out like at the shows we played together. But like I didn't know them personally, and I've up until like before getting sober, like I've never known anybody before they were very long before they were in this band. Yeah. So no. Yeah, it's been a very lonely life. Yeah. I've enjoyed that time in a lot of ways. But yeah, it's been tough. Saying that and confront. Yeah, Jeff, so that's what's like coming up. So essentially, so we're doing this, we're on tour. We leave for this tour in 2011 called the Glamour Kills Tour. It is the first night of the tour. We are in New York City, and there are two strange things about this evening. One, Richard and Stephanie Rains are there because they're managing this band, Dream All-Star Weekend. There we go. And they're super weird, and I'm very deeply, incredibly uncomfortable. And it's also the 5-year anniversary of the band's inception. I remember talking to some people at the merch booth about that, and how kind of crazy that was. That night, like, we were meeting our new booking agent for the first time. I received news that we were being played on the radio. A little bit more was like, I guess, starting to be played. So all that is like all happening at the same time, and I'm losing my shit. I lose my shit, and essentially like that night I get super drunk, and I don't really know what happens. I'm told that Mike from this band, We Are the In Crowd, leaves, and I guess sometime later I take his wallet that he left on the bar, and and then everybody for some reason thinks I stole it, which I don't really understand that part, because I was like, my buddy, like we'd been on tour together, like I didn't want him to leave his wallet in a strange city, so I was like, let me find my jacket. Like the next day, they're like, do you have Mike's wallet? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. Like, but I pass out somewhere and wake up somewhere else, so I have no idea. Like, I don't have my jacket on me. So I find his wallet, I give it back to him, and the rest of the band is, like, acting weird. And I'm like, do you guys think I took this? And they're like, well, you do weird shit when you're drunk. I was like, have I ever stolen from you? Like, I don't take people's stuff. So that's like, no, Katie, that's just, I think my wife's cutting up an onion or something. So yeah, we go to, we keep touring. Like the guys are still mixing things like the EP. I recorded Sad Bastard music right before leaving. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but, and then we had the alternate version of Some Things Don't Wash Out. All this got done super last minute, like a week before we left for the tour. We recorded the vocals in Rico's bathroom, and yeah, it was just incredibly last minute. So yeah, I think like the third night of that tour, Kyle sits us down and tells us that he's quitting the band because he had anxiety issues. Like, and it's totally fair. I do too. Like, there's a reason I drank so much for such a long time when we were playing. And then we continue the tour. We get to Florida, and I can't remember if it was there. So we get to Florida, and we play in Tampa. And, like, we're all, like, out and about. And then the guy, like, I thought I was leaving with somebody. I don't. But the guy's, like, already left somewhere. And my phone dies. And I'm super fucked up. So I'm just, like, walking, looking for a gas station. Like, I have money. And I have the ability to buy a charger for my phone, but I can't find a gas station. So I'm walking for like 2 hours, and eventually come upon a policeman, and I'm like, hey, I'm really drunk. I know that's not really cool, but like my friends left me here, and I just need to get to a gas station, like to buy a charger to charge my phone. He's like, get in. He's like, get in. He's like, there's one like a mile and a half away. He's like, you're still so far. So it takes me there, and yeah, I love these stories. Takes me there, and I get the charger. I call the guys, and the guys are like, I'm like, hey, where are you guys? And they're like, we're sleeping. Where are you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm at some fucking gas station near an overpass. Like, you guys left me, like, and they were like, we thought you were riding back here with that girl. And I was like, well, did that girl show up? And they were like, no. And I was like, did I show up? No. And I was like, so you just were like, fuck it, like, we're just gonna go to, like, I'm homeless, we're thousands of miles, like, we're so far from home. So, like, the next day, they're like, they're essentially, like, they were asking about money then. And I was like, yeah, like, you guys are welcome to, like, take a look at how much money the band has. Like, I'd be happy to explain anything in the bank account. Like, if you guys are, being this strange about it, then let's go ahead and open a new bank account. The only thing is, like, I'm not going to do it. Like, I do everything else. So, one of you wake up tomorrow and go open a bank account. And, like, I'll move everything in there. Like, you guys can handle everything. And that didn't fucking happen. As I guessed it wouldn't have. And so, yeah, we continue on the road, and we get to Utah, and the guys are like, we need to talk to you. Are you stealing are you stealing from the band? And I panic. And I've talked about this in the past. But yeah, I panic, I'm in this tight room and I say, like, no. Because, like, in my brain, like, what I've done isn't stealing. And the amount of personal money that I've put into the band for the previous 5 years vastly outweighed what I had spent of what I knew was band money. So I say no. I panic, I don't know what they mean. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, so I essentially I'm like, nope. So they're like super mad for a couple of days, obviously. Then we're in Colorado Springs, and not Colorado Springs. We're in Colorado and Denver. And I'm like, what do I have to do to, like, convince you guys that what you think is happening isn't happening? Because they were, what they were looking at was my personal bank account. Just, like, the last, like, 7 or 8 years of transactions, which includes, like, my paychecks, so on and so forth. I'd worked a bunch of odd jobs over the years to keep the band going and to keep myself alive. And I had a bank account for, like, direct deposit and shit. And, like, if we got a check, because nobody else would do anything, or open a bank account in 5 years. 5 years, not one person. So we, I'm like, we're in Colorado. I'm like, what do I have to convince you that that's not happening? So, like, I'm driving around looking for parking, and I realize, like, sort of like, what's, like, I had not had a drink for a couple of days. I think it had been like 3 or 4 days. I remember, like, in LA, I had been sober for 3 days, and I was, like, super anxious because there were all these industry people coming. And I remember Augie walking out, like, I'm kind of, like, pacing, and I'm probably, like, ticking a little bit or something. I don't know. And Augie comes up to me, and he's like, hey, man, what's going on? I'm like, I'm just nervous. Like, there's, like, like, we're, like, industry shows make me nervous. Everybody in the that I've interacted with is in one way or another told me I'm not enough. For the most part, back then it was a toxic era. I can't imagine this is much different. But so, and he's like, well, why don't you just have one, man? It'll calm your nerves. And so I do. And then I remember some of the night, and I woke up in the van the next day having thrown up on the mattress, and just kind of cleaned my shit up, and I was like, look, I'm going to need to I said to myself, like, I'm going to need to take at least 3 months off, to get sober. Just take a couple months off. I knew I had a problem. So I stopped, I hadn't had a drink for a couple of days, and I'd just been thinking about, like, my behavior and, like, where I was and how I was feeling, and I just realized that, like, I remembered this checklist of addictive behavior I heard, and like the behaviors of addicts, and I sort of like went through, and I was like, yeah, isolating behavior, shame, so on and so forth. I was like, holy shit, I'm an alcoholic. Like, I can never drink again. And I was like, oh my god, like, I'm never gonna drink again. And I remember just feeling so free. I can still feel that feeling. And we play the show in Denver, and I'm on the top of it, like, just on the top of the world. I went to everybody, and I was like, guys, okay, like, yeah, I spent a little money, but I spent it on, like, food, like, survival shit. Like, I wasn't out, I was like, if I spent it, I said, like, I spent it if I was either hungry or, like, too hungover to care, generally speaking, which was true. And so they're like, cool, we play the show, I feel super free. And they're like, you're lying. And I'm like, I'm not. And so they don't talk to me, like, for the next couple of days. And like, we still like, yeah. So like, I'm not getting any headway. Like, I'm not seeing what they're telling me about, or they're telling me I've done. Like, they won't let me see any of the paperwork they're saying proves that I'm lying to them. So we get to Nebraska. We play this it's really awkward. Like, at this point, like, I'm like almost a week sober, and it's starting to, like, show itself. And I had this really awkward show in Omaha, and it was just also weird because, like, Omaha's strange for new bands. Like, the audience was just super not into it. We played like right at doors, so there were a bunch of like people were like filtering in. And I remember it was there like everybody was just kind of like, we're gonna go home. I was like, all right. And yeah, we go home and we announce that we drop off the tour. And then like 2 days later, this EP comes out, and so yeah, we get on a phone call. Like the guys hop on a phone call, and yeah, they were just like, we're done. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like I feel like I'm sorry. Like this feels like remorse. Like I'm remorseful. Like I don't know what more I could do. If you guys want to take things over, so on and so forth, yada yada. By all means, keys to the kingdom. Like I'll just sing. Y'all can even write everything. I'll whatever I gotta do to prove this to you. Well, yeah, atheist AA meetings are fine. Either way, if it works for you, it works for you. But so yeah, so they're like essentially like they announced that we dropped off the tour, and that they say that I've been stealing tens of thousands of dollars, which like I was homeless at the time, literally homeless. Like I think I'd been sleeping at like Augie's and like Rico's, and like just I was homeless. And a lot of stuff they had also talked about was like when everybody had quit the band from March from 2009 until like November. But I still had my lease. I still had to pay. Yeah, so anyway. Yeah. So for better or for worse, everyone quits the band. And my manager, our manager asked me to like make a statement. I tried to lay it out as plainly as I could without really trying to make any excuses for myself. Like, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, but it doesn't excuse like what I did do. Definitely not cool, but it was what was done. It was not. I don't really think it was fair to burn down everything I built. But I'm still here. Yeah. So I realized at a certain point that like I can't really do anything, and the internet is abound with like there are rumors that I'm like buying tons of cocaine and hookers, and I was shamed for paying for pornography at some point, which is like technically the right thing to do, but misogyny abound. We're all victims of it to some extent. Yeah, man. It was a real bummer. And I realized I just had to sort of take it on the chin, and there wasn't really anything I could do. The current had already chosen its direction, and I was just going to have to be better for longer than I was worse. So I just, moved home and started to stay sober. Like, I had met the woman who I'm now married to during our last. It really confused me too, Nikki. But hey, I think it's because I've been trying to quit that whole time, like the whole time they knew me. But yeah, I think that had all, like, so much of that, it all came down to communication. I failed, as Ryan said, I failed as a leader to really take ownership of it being my band. And that was honestly part of what was happening in that last tour. Was I was starting to be like, no, we need to be doing this. We need to be doing this. Yeah, I guess they weren't down. So did sobriety affect my music? So we'll get into it. Absolutely has. So we'll go right up. We'll walk a little further. Are you guys here for a little bit? Are you guys chill? Are you guys hanging? So yeah, so I was sober for a year, and sort of made the commitment to my girlfriend, who's become my wife. Yeah, I remember I played a show in October of 2011. It was the first time I had been on stage sober ever. And I was playing acoustic, which was a nightmare for me, because like I used to love to hide in the noise. Like I didn't figure out until years later what it was, but you just become a part of what's going on in the room. Like, we become Yumi and everyone we know. And it's just it can be it's a spiritual experience. But yeah, so I played this acoustic show, and I thought it was just gonna be the last thing. You know, like, I'm okay, I'm still sober, I'll see y'all later. Do you guys see the trend, those of you who have been here the whole time, of me not thinking I could do this anymore? Yeah, the Property of Zach show. Oh shit. Yeah, it was in black and white. Yeah. And so I played that and then just stayed sober for a while, and it was probably Christine that got me to start writing again. I can't remember how it happened, but it was to some extent of like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, make your... It was nicer than that. Like, you know, you're good at this, yada yada yada. You know, very complimentary.
You were also just writing down little snippets of things constantly, so
yeah.
You're still writing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of kind of like, Ben, you make me... It's like Mac not wanting to acknowledge he's gay. Like, Ben, you're a musician. Like, just own it. So yeah, we keep writing, and yeah, eventually she convinces, you know, I eventually like reach out to Trevor, our longtime recording partner, and yeah, I was just like, you know, I got a couple ideas. I want to leave the band on a nicer note. Then things are really weird right now. So as just sort of what was intended to be a bookend, was the next EP, A Great Big Hole.
That's like the pattern of you in this band. I'm gonna end it on a different note.
Yeah. So that's things are really weird right now. Let me think if there's anything, you know. Tell your friends about the band. Friends you might think have already heard the band, who may not know. Send them new shit. Tell them it's seriously different. I feel like it's obvious from what we've released so far that something different's going on, but it's really going to get... The Misprint records. No, what Misprint records? So yeah, we release Things Are Really Weird right now, and I'm kind of checked out at that point. Like, I'm doing my best to like push it, but all this other stuff's going on, and it's sort of like the band's done for now. I hate to say it, but I was kind of a pioneer in getting canceled online. It's very unfortunate that we've learned there are much worse deeds in the genre than me misspending money that we owed to debtors. Misprint labels. I didn't know that. That's fun. That's a fun trivia. I would like to introduce y'all to Stefan. He is the band's historian, or historical curator. And yeah, you can find him on the internet. Andy Likes Cats. Super good dude. But yeah, any other questions? I can't... I think next week you're going to... next week or the week after, we'll be joined by a guest, and the cast of the show will continue growing as we progress. Ooh, but starting in a couple of weeks, we are going to, for some reason, even though it was a sad moment, everyone we knew. Yeah, I've been thinking of... I've been thinking of redoing one of those, but I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see. I'm trying to think if there's, what was the first song? Like A Great Big Hole or I'm Alright. Were the first songs I wrote once I got sober. Just sort of examining the fallout of the whole situation and my my responsibility in it, and then like how to move forward. I think one of the most important things I do as a musician is share my suffering on a ground, like on a reporting from the ground level, and reporting my experience. When I say suffering, I mean more the process of life, not so much as a pity me, I'm suffering. More in the noble truths sense. It's possible, Goder. It's very possible. But we have something else we'll be showing you first. There's a bunch of, besides the album, we have several other like little tunes we'll be releasing in the several months. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, if you haven't purchased tickets for it, please pick up tickets. We're playing in Chicago on October 9th, New York City on October 30th, and November 18th in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That was me. That was me that sang it. It's oftentimes when you think there's a woman recording on the album, it's me. It's me. I can sing high. Shit, guys, this has been a good time. I hope you've enjoyed it. Starting in September, I'm gonna be adding another night of streaming. I want to start I think I'm gonna call it like Wednesday Watch Party, and we're going to essentially we're just gonna watch a movie together on like Amazon Prime or some shit. And then we'll be adding more things over time as we go along. But this will be ever developing as a way to keep connecting with you while I'm dealing with this dysautonomia, which limits the amount of shows we can play. What can you spoil what's going to be the next? Oh no, I can't yet. But there's going to be a song that's not an album song. There'll be a cover before October and another cover in October. Yeah, we're just going to try and keep it pushing. Keep making music. Just keep doing whatever the hell we want to do. So yeah, stay in touch. Eventually, we will, with time goes, we'll eventually offer. We're trying to build a community here, something sustainable. So yeah, tell your folks, tell people about this band. I think the message I'm sending out will help more people than those who realize they need it. So please, you guys decide the fate of all this. I'm gonna keep making music, but the quality of recording may change. So yeah, thank y'all for the time. The website is youmeband.com. You can find us on social media, generally at youmeband. We're here every Sunday starting in September. It will be Sundays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on Sundays, 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. And I think that's it, y'all. Keep it pushing. It's been fun. Sad Bastard music. No, we'll do that later. Y'all know what that song's about. Take care, everybody.